G'day guys, Chris here, Midlife Carpentry, and welcome back for another tool shout out. So this is continuing on from the four battery tools an apprentice should probably have early on in the piece as an apprentice carpenter. Now we're going to talk accessories, and the other thing, the main accessory one we're going to talk about today is the grinder. Now I had a quick thought about circular saws. Not really much to do in accessories for them really. You can have a blade for your timber blade, have a spare one of them maybe. You could have an alley blade if you want. Otherwise your cement board blades are handy as well. But obviously if you're going to be using that, ideally you want to vacuum too, so just keep that in mind. But that's accessories for the circular saw, so not really a great deal. But we're going to talk about grinders today. So being a battery grinder, some of the items that would be handy to have in your little collection with your grinder stuff. So first and foremost, these are pretty much a consumable, and that's the cutting disc. Okay, so these are a very thin cutting disc. Okay, as you can see, there's nearly nothing to them. All right, these are pretty standard, used across the board. A lot of guys use these. You buy them in big packs, and away you go. So something we found out the other day, they do. That's really no good. They glaze over, so if you find you're having troubles cutting and it's cutting slower and stuff, but the disc still looks okay, they can glaze over. So don't be afraid of grabbing your disc and away you go and try again, because otherwise you're going to be wasting your time trying to cut. It's taken ages to do. So cutting disc, that's one thing important. Next thing is in relation to cutting steel and stuff like that, grinding things down after cutting. Now, regardless what people do, what you see people do, or how people use them, okay, do not use a cutting disc as a grinder. It's not designed for that. It really isn't. You can get yourself in a bit of strife and a pickle once that disc pops. And yeah, if you're not ready for it, or you haven't got a guard on like some cowboys, yeah, it can hurt someone. So ideally, if you're going to grind, grab yourself a grinding disc. Okay, so something similar to what this is. Okay, so this will help you grind down. So for example, you're getting rid of studs off a floor or whatever, or knock-ins, etc. Yeah, and you want to grind it down flat. Ideally, you should be using a grinding disc itself. Okay. If failing that, don't have that, flappy discs are also a good one to have. So those three discs. Okay, your cutting disc, a standard metal grinding disc, and a flappy disc. I reckon those three are pretty handy to have in your repertoire, ready to go for your grinder. Couple of bonus ones though, a couple of extra ones. If you're, it depends on what you do really, whether you need these or not, but these are handy for me and I found I've used them a lot. Okay, a wire brush. Now there's different types of wire brushes out there, but I've found this one, this style, okay, to be pretty much Mickey Mouse. Like this is the style that you kind of gives you that flexibility to do what you need to do, because often you're trying to remove stuff off the surface with a wire brush, and to move forward with adhesing, putting down adhesive or whatever, you know. So yeah, the wire brush. Concrete cutting. Now ideally you still want to be wearing a proper silica mask and everything like that while doing this, but standard concrete cutting blade is handy, especially if you want to cut down some block work or something to fit something in, you know, a block's in the way and you want to try and put a truss in on a roof or something. That's where it's handy. Just pull this out and away you go, give it a cut, you'll be all right. And following on from a concrete blade is you've got tile blades too. Now obviously that's all dependent on what you do, like I said. So I've got two different types. I've got this flatter style one, okay, which is great for your ceramic tiles, but I've just recently picked this one up the other day for doing the pool tiles. It's a porcelain. It's really good for porcelain, less likely to chip it than the other ones, and yeah, I've been very impressed with this little blade. So, and that does it, guys. That's it for the tool shout out for the grinder. So battery operated grinder, a few little things there. Hopefully they help you out. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one, eh? We'll chat again soon, guys. See you later.